Welcome to another episode of the Financial Armor Show. My name is Jose Rodriguez, investment advisor here at Cooper Financial, and your host for today, alongside my co-host Jaclyn. How you doing, Jaclyn?
I am fantastic. I do have to say, I am jealous of your 90-degree weather that you guys are having, but, but, we got some sunshine
Okay.
and we got above freezing.
All right.
So
All right.
that is win-win, and you can see it on my face that the energy is back within me.
Well, over here, it's 90 is way too early in the year for it to be 90.
Agreed.
And that's where it's just essentially it's just a teaser of what's to come. And
Mm-hmm.
you know how you guys hide during the winter?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we get sunned in, if you want to
Yes.
call it that way.
Yes.
Whenever is 100-degree plus, we don't want to go outside.
Mm-hmm.
And like I've mentioned on the show, I just bought a new house, and there's some really cool things that I want to do to the backyard. I even got a grill and everything, right?
Ooh.
But that means what this means, what this week reminded me of was I have maybe about a month left for me to do anything fun outside in my backyard, in my new backyard.
No, no, because they're just teasing us. They're saying, "Hey, this is what you're gonna get, and then we're gonna go back full into winter." So, yes, and I
Well,
think
actually, we are getting cooler next week, but it's just it's one of those realizations that only people that are from Arizona just get. Think
yeah,
and actually the smart ones, which are majority of our clients, they're snowbirds. They just leave
yeah, oh yeah,
because otherwise, why are they here? They're just gonna sit at home, not do anything, probably.
mhm,
And that's the unfortunate. I'm staying here for the most part. I am traveling a lot this summer for
okay,
work. I'm gonna be going around so many places. I'm gonna be going to Minnesota a couple times.
yes.
Did they tell you I'm gonna go in actually this month? This is March. What, March 2nd? I'm
Yeah.
gonna be there in 3 weeks.
What?
Yeah. So
Okay, and then so we get to see each other twice in the next 2 months.
yes, yes.
Wow, because
But
ah,
let's tell our listeners why we're seeing each other twice this month or in the next 2 months. The first reason of why I'm going to Minnesota and then 3 weeks, 18th to be exact. Um, uh, there's a Gradient, which is our support company that is located in Minnesota. They do events to try to educate other advisors
mhm,
on specific things. Their investments, life insurance, annuities, in many different ways, many different things. So I was invited to talk about our practice and be one of the presenters to these advisors that want to get better and more educated on certain things. And Gradient is flying me out to speak again. This is going to be my third time speaking at these events, and it's such an honor, obviously, and
mhm.
I'm excited for it.
That is super exciting. And do you know what you're going to be speaking about, or is this going to be like a 24 hours before we go topic?
That's how they did it the first two times, actually. You know, no, the topic that I'm going to be talking about is uh, how we as a firm go about saving people in taxes.
Mhm.
How we move people from taxable to tax free, and in the process, also how do we take care of long term care risk
Mhm.
for our clients, which is those two topics are not a lot of advisors out there are doing it,
Mhm.
and so Gradient is wanting to spread that message that we typically do with our clients, but we're going to do it over there for a group of advisors they're going to invite that I'm going to talk to. It's
Well,
going to be fun.
I do want to share what I'm going to Arizona for.
Okay.
But what you just said, that's segues right into our episode today. So quick pause on that. But yes, I will be going to Arizona for Women in Wealth event. And so, we're doing a brunch with your clients,
Yes.
and there'll be Lisa Schreiber and
Hmm.
Caitlin Weingard, who I
Hmm.
work with.
Hmm.
All three of us are going down, and we'll be hanging out with you guys and doing brunch and talking with your clients and also presenting on some tough topics
Mhm.
for women specifically in
Important
retirement.
topics,
Yes.
definitely.
Yes. And so it's really exciting. I'm excited to see The Office and be down with you guys. And for our listeners and viewers, stay tuned because there's going to be quite a few episodes coming up about these topics and what we'll be speaking on.
Mhm.
And we'll have, Lisa on here, Caitlin on here, and I, of course, Brad too. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
and you which also once for the people listening and that are gonna come to the event, uh, get an autograph. Get an autograph from Jaclyn. That would be really cool. Frame it, put it
yes.
somewhere.
Yes. So April 9th, write that down for our listeners and viewers in the morning. So it's a Thursday morning, and, we'll just be having some brunch talk and hear some great speakers. So it'll be good.
Yes, we're very excited about that. So thank you so much for coming over. But the topic for today, um, I just wanted us to get together and bring some awareness to what's going on in the world, just as a
Mhm.
just a differentiation between the headlines and what's actually going on in your financial plan.
Yeah.
Because what typically people do is they watch too much news, or
Mhm.
and I've heard this is actually have some phone calls have started.
Mhm.
So people call me and they say, "Hey, Jose, I just went down the longest YouTube rabbit hole that
Yes.
that you
Or
won't believe."
oh, yes. Or reels or like
Oh
Facebook
yeah,
or Instagram reels. Oh
yeah,
man.
yeah, and actually, my mom included, by the way. So not only do I get phone calls like this during my 9 to 5, right? I get home and I get a phone call from my mom, and it's like, "Oh my gosh, did you hear about this?" And I'm just thinking, "Oh my gosh, this is exhausting."
Mhm. Mhm.
um, but uh, but I'm sure everyone. I mean, if you've turned on the news or even looked at the markets lately, there's a lot of uncertainty,
Mhm.
and everything from interest rates uncertainty, with the new Federal Reserve chair is going to change, with the war in Iran, all
Mhm.
those tensions. This is going to be an election year. The midterms are coming in late this year, November. AI, AI changes, and so all these things are going on right now, and people are reading about them. They get these headlines, and they don't know what to think of them,
Well,
right? And
they
that's why I'm
evoke
being.
yeah, they evoke fear. I mean,
Yep.
that's what I say. I read them and I think personally the news used to be informative, and I
Hmm.
feel like right now all it's doing is provoking fear and,
Hmm.
stress amongst us, and I
Hmm.
will say I'm right there with you. When I
Yeah.
see things on the headlines, I'm like kind of internally freaking out. I mean,
Yeah.
what does this mean for me? What does
Hmm.
this mean for my future?
Hmm.
And the people around me.
Yeah. And you know why that is because these media companies, the news and all these things, they get
Mhm.
paid on and getting views, capturing your
Yes.
attention, right? They don't get paid. They don't care. They don't get paid to make you wealthy,
Mhm.
right? So, and that's a distinction I like to make, that make sure that you have that 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 these companies, the reason they word it a certain way
Mhm.
to entice fear is because they make money off of you reacting, you
Yes.
know and that's something I want to bring awareness, keep in mind. Um and and but there is some volatility in the market, right? It doesn't always mean that there's something wrong, but there is volatility in the market, and it depends on, for all the listeners, depends on how you're reacting to this volatility. I would encourage you to go back and do a little bit self-reflecting on
Mhm.
your own risk tolerance, because when there's volatility, that's when you really get to know yourself, I guess, if that's
Mhm.
another way to say. And that's where you should go back and really think about what kind of risk are you actually comfortable with,
Yeah.
because for the past 2-3 years the market has been great,
Mhm.
since 2022. So actually, it didn't start being great until September of 2023. So September 2023 to essentially now, the market has been great. So people got used to that, and that's normal. By the way, that's
Mhm.
normal human reaction, human behavior. It's like, oh my
Mhm.
gosh, everything's been great, right? So as soon as something starts to not look perfect and amazing, like it has, people start freaking out. So that is just one encouragement that I would like to make for everybody. To right now, when there's volatility, that is a perfect time to check in with yourself and reevaluate your risk tolerance.
Yeah.
Um,
And I think it's also important to note to our listeners that we are in 2026 now. So that's, an important note because I myself, when you say 2023, I'm like, oh, that's, last year. No,
hmm
that is, 3 years and running.
hmm Yep.
But you're right. I mean, to make sure that some of the false information that's being
hmm
put out there is on purpose.
hmm
They put out false information so they get a reaction from you, they get emotion from you, and essentially they get money.
hmm
And, the headlines, why some of them are just posed as maybe questions or posed
hmm
as, you know, a not a lot of information to
hmm
get you to click on it. And
hmm
so it's so important to also, I want to mention, to have an expert in your corner about this stuff because there's so much information and so, many headlines out there. No person can keep up with everything. It's
hmm
impossible. I mean, so what you're saying, Jose, is you're great at keeping up with markets, with financial conversations, with headlines that have to do with your job. And it's important to evoke, and trust an expert in that corner.
Yeah, I mean that there is definitely you need someone in your corner to cut through the noise, because
Mhm.
that's all what's going on, and that's where some people just get bombarded with all this information. So it's definitely it gets noisy in someone's mind and don't know what's what. So that's why you need a professional with that has you know access to other professionals that are experts
Mhm.
in specific fields.
Yes.
And that's where I use Gradient a lot. Is they have a lot of experts on many different fields that I tap into on a daily basis. I,
Mhm.
I actually I, I actually have Gradient on speed dial. I talk to you guys maybe 5-10 times a day. I feel bad for some of you.
Uh, but
um,
I
yeah.
know that you also, with regards to your risk tolerance, I believe that you guys offer a color of risk analysis, right?
Yes.
So, can you tell our listeners a little bit about that?
Yeah. So a color of money risk analysis. That's the official term for it.
Mhm.
And again, going back to the reevaluate risk is this comra, we call it color of money risk analysis. Uh, it contextualizes your risk, your perception of risk,
Mhm.
because and that's what makes it meaningful.
Mhm.
Because what most people do out there is they say, okay, from 1 to 5, what is your risk tolerance? And when you ask somebody
2.
that, they're like, I don't know. What does even 1 mean, right? What does 5 mean? All
Mhm.
right. So
You always
and
go for the middle when you
yeah,
don't know.
actually, you're right. Most people, nobody says 5 or 1.
Nope,
They
that's
either
why I said
say
2.
3, 3 or 2 or 5 or 4, 2, 3 or 4, right? They never say 5 or 1, right? But
Mhm.
it's all our, the meaningless numbers when you position risk tolerance that way, because risk tolerance is all about emotions, and you have to when in you it so your emotions needs to be contextualized to data, and that's really the hard
Mhm.
part, right?
Yeah.
Investing can be emotional, but also investing is all about data, right?
Mhm.
So how do we merge them all together, right?
Mhm.
And that's kind of how what we try to accomplish with this color of money risk analysis. It's 11 questions of what would you do if, or what is your situation,
Mhm.
x, you're in x situation, or what would you do here if this happened. So it contextualizes with scenarios what your risk tolerance is. And that's why I feel this is one of the most powerful things when when going through creating your financial plan or adjusting your financial plan. And yeah,
Yeah.
so go ahead.
And I think it's, important to note that in regards to this, Comra and kind of the headlines, and to kind of bring it all together is you're always going to be in a different spot in life,
Hmm.
right? And I think about like you and I, Jose, we're on the younger side. And so our risk is going to be completely different typically than somebody that's closer to retirement.
Hmm.
And because for us, we have years to spare, right?
Hmm.
We have, to make up for the markets being
Hmm.
down or
Hmm.
whatever's going on now. But when you're close to retirement, these headlines, this is risky for you, right? You're
Hmm.
you're seeing it very differently than you are at our age.
Yeah, and then what happens in our and for people during our early years
Mhm.
of accumulating for retirement, when volatility happens, is, the answer to most of the questions is just wait it out,
Mhm.
right? And that fixes 99% of the problems, right? Just wait it
Yep.
out, right? As long as asset allocation is correct, there's other things that you can think about, but when it comes to volatility alone, just wait it out, right?
Mhm.
But when you're close to retirement or in retirement, there's not a whole lot of time to just say, wait it out,
Mhm.
right? So that's why, uh, again, going back to this is a perfect time to reevaluate your current state
Mhm.
because when times in volatility, when the market is having a lot of volatility, the market is moving up and down a lot, and if that's creating a lot of fear in you, as far as tuning out the news, but if you're looking at your account and one day you're up and then the next day you're not, the next day you're down, but then the next day you're up again, and you're having this panic attacks because
Yeah.
of all this that's happening throughout the week, and then your break is during the weekend, and you're just like, "Oh my gosh, thank God they're not reporting any prices during the weekend because, oh my gosh, I'm taking a break." So, if that's you, then definitely reevaluate your risk tolerance,
Mhm.
okay? And now okay, now now I'm gonna talk to the people that, okay, I think I understand the ups and downs, and I think I'm comfortable with the ups and downs as far as so far.
Mhm.
Obviously, there's no recession or anything like that, but, there's a little bit up and down, right? Right now, if times of volatility is the perfect time to also reevaluate rebalancing between sectors. That's where our money managers come in and we actively manage different things. Whereas asset allocation, rebalancing between sectors, which this year is the perfect example of diversification.
Mhm.
Usually people talk about the S&P 500 as being, the one all be all, right?
Mhm.
It's up maybe about 1% for the year, but if you are well diversified along alternative investments, which we can think about, gold, precious metals,
Yeah.
um, international, and lower small cap companies. These
Yep.
are typically three different sectors of your portfolio that either you completely take out or you don't think about too much because you're solely the majority of people are solely focused on the S&P 500.
Mhm.
These three sectors have outperformed year to date. We're
Mm.
talking 5 to 10% compared to the S&P year to date is maybe 1%.
Yep.
So and the reason I bring this up is this is the time to rethink about think about rebalancing your
Mhm.
portfolio, and that's what we've been doing with a lot of our clients, and also um, tax loss harvesting. We have
What does that mean?
okay. So what tax loss harvesting means is when you when you lose on quote unquote on paper
Mhm.
when you lose money in an investment, you can write that off for the year, right? So let me
On,
give
like,
you
your
an example.
tax return?
So let me give you an example.
Okay.
Let's say you bought something for $10
Mhm.
and the market went down and now it's $7.
Mhm.
You lost and then you sold it, right? You
Okay.
technically on paper lost $3,
Yeah.
right? You can put that on your tax returns. Okay. So now in the grant, big picture here, um, the market is down, and you can realize some losses and reshift, rebalance,
Yep.
like I said earlier, rebalance some of your portfolio. And all you're doing is just rebalancing, just moving some money around, where
Mhm.
it's allocated towards, being diversified. But in the
Mhm.
process, you just save some taxes because
Okay.
you just realize some of the losses, and the
Yeah.
and the market is going to come back up later, and then you regain those
Mhm.
losses, but now you're in somewhere else.
Mhm.
So that's why when the market is up and down, that's where you can really dig into that and realize some losses, and save some taxes in the process.
Yeah.
Which we have a portfolio that does exactly that, leveraging ETFs. I don't. You probably were not.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, we're not. I don't think we've made a podcast on this particular portfolio, but it's a very interesting one, and I'll try not to geek out too much. But
Jose geeking out? I don't know.
so
I
so
mean,
let me.
yeah, explain a little bit. I mean, brief level here, Jose.
Yes,
You
yes.
got a minute.
Okay, minute, go. All right. So our tax advantage portfolio. Yeah, I just explained the concept of making, realizing some loss, and you can put that on your
Yep.
tax returns, and you save a little bit of money, right? Now, when let's say stock A, you sell, again, the $3 loss, for you bought it for 10, you sell it for 7, you realize a $3 loss, the IRS won't allow you to get back in, because then you're just cheating. You have to change into something else. Okay,
Oh.
so you can't just go back, sell, realize the loss, and get back
Mhm.
in, right? So, but if you use, the loophole here is ETFs.
Okay.
There's actually more ETFs out there than there is stocks in the exchange.
Okay, what does ETF stand for?
Exchange traded funds, which is just a
Okay.
pool of funds.
Yep.
And people usually buy those, because they want to invest in index or something
Mhm.
like that. And by the way, there's maybe that hundreds of
Mhm.
ETFs that are exactly the same. They're
Hmm.
all exactly the same. So the loophole here, going back to it, you can invest in, let's say, an ETF that is for the S&P 500,
Mhm.
and then let's say it goes down, and then you sell, you realize the loss. You go into another ETF that is the insides of the ETF are exactly the same,
Oh,
but they're
wow.
different, issued by different companies.
So it's the umbrella. It's
Yeah.
literally the umbrella, and if you're still using an umbrella to save yourself from the rain, this
Yeah.
might be a different one. Like
Yeah. Yep.
that's
Yep.
wow.
So that's the loophole. The insides are the same,
Mhm.
but the umbrella is different. And
Mhm.
you can do that, sell, realize the loss, and go back into the separate ETF that is the exact same umbrella,
Yeah.
right? Just different color.
Yeah, just
Get back
changing the
into that,
title.
and the IRS will allow that.
Wow. Okay.
So it's just one of those things that we definitely take advantage of during these times of volatility.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like, I'm glad that you brought that up because there are a lot of quote loopholes, I
Hmm.
guess, when it comes to specifically taxes and specifically your financial and your retirement plan. And I
Hmm.
think it's so important to consult a financial advisor and consult a professional because you could be making, costly mistakes when it comes to this stuff. And there's really smart strategies
Yeah.
to, work around loopholes kind of like this, right? And so, you're not cheating, but make your money work, hard for you. Be smart
Hmm.
about it. Don't make mistakes and definitely don't make emotional decisions.
Yeah. And that is the biggest message that I want to bring to everyone today is, don't invest with your emotions, because that's
Mhm.
how you lose money. And I've said this in other podcasts before, other episodes, where people just don't know what they don't know,
Absolutely.
right? So lean on a professional to, point out those things that you didn't even realize.
Mhm.
That's what we're here for, right? So that is the two biggest. If you get anything out of today,
Mhm.
don't invest with your emotions, and realize that you don't know what you don't know, and you need
Mhm.
help from a professional.
Yeah. I love that, Jose. And I think it's also, important to note that not everything is true that you read online. And, there's always a purpose behind it.
Mhm.
So just
AI
be
is getting
careful.
crazy out there.
Mhm.
These video that again, also my mom comes up to me, is like, "Oh my gosh, did you see that video?" I'm like, "Mom, it's not real. That
Yeah.
is
And
AI."
yes, the AI stuff. Have you seen like the AI car crashes and stuff?
I've seen so many different things.
It's all AI. I mean, yeah. Be
So
be
careful
aware out
out
there.
there.
Mhm,
Careful
be
out there.
careful. Same message. Well,
Yeah.
Jose, before we leave, can you share with our listeners and viewers today how they can schedule a complimentary consultation with you and Brad?
Yes, they can go on our website, financialarmorshow.com, or give us a call at 888-390-5277.
Well, perfect. All right. Well, thank you, listeners and viewers. And that does it for this episode of Financial Armor with our host, Jose Rodriguez.